The ANC in Mpumalanga is holding its two-day provincial general council in Manzana, formerly known as Badplaas. The meeting, which is attended by members of the Provincial Executive Committee, is expected to, among other things, reflect on policy issues as well as preparations for the national conference. Newzroom Afrika's Mweli Masilela is standing by, and you're said to be in conversation with the Provincial Secretary of the ANC, that's Masilela. It's over to you, Mweli.
Yes, this is quite an important meeting for the ANC in the province, considering the fact that just this week we're expecting the National Policy Conference of the ANC to take place, as well as considering the fact that the ANC is preparing for the National Conference in December. So the members of the ANC, as well as the members of the Provincial Executive Committee here, are trying to consolidate their policy position ahead of that conference. But of course, also the context of the Mpumalanga province after the provincial conference of the ANC. We know that there's some issues in some municipalities, especially Nkomazi and Mkondo. In fact, in Nkomazi, there's that issue of some councillors of the ANC who defied the party line, and in turn they ended up being expelled from the ruling party. So those are some of the issues that members of the ANC, as well as members of the Provincial Executive Committee, will be discussing here. Let me bring in the the Deputy Secretary of the ANC in the province, Lindiwe Nchalinchali. As we said, we're supposed to speak to Masilela, but he's busy inside. We've got the Deputy Secretary now, Lindiwe Nchalinchali. Looking into this gathering today, how important is it, and what are the issues that we can expect to feature prominently in the discussions?
Good morning to your viewers at home. We are gathered here as Mpumalanga to process our policy positions. You know that we are preparing to go to policy conference nationally, and this process started a long time ago. After the discussion documents were released, we instructed our branches to start embarking on these discussions. These discussions, they vary from economic transformation, your legislature and governance. It also talks about our organizational renewal and many other documents that are relevant. And also we're looking into the issues that are affecting Mpumalanga. You know, there are issues of safety, there are issues of your porous borders. There are many issues that we're discussing, your issues of your gender-based violence. And branches has inputted, and we've received those inputs from the branches. So where we are now, all branches in good standing in Mpumalanga are here, together with the PEC and RSs and our alliance partners, and also Amakosi, to consolidate our input, because as a province also we should be making an input nationally, also making sure that all issues branches that have been raised from branches, they see the day of light. Some of the issues is your constitutional renewal, your issues of your step aside that affects us as a province, which we should look into. So those are the issues. This meeting today, it is very, very important, because some of these policy decisions in December, they will be adopted as policy positions.
You are talking about the issue of step aside. It will be interesting to know from your side if you've already come up with a position in that, because we know that already provinces like KwaZulu-Natal, they are advocating that it should be looked into and ultimately scrapped. Is there any position from the side of Mpumalanga at this stage?
I think it will be proper that we give our branches that opportunity to engage and lobby each other. Then they will pronounce themselves. But there were some serious inputs on this matter, because how National Conference resolved on the matter and how it's implemented, really it's not what conference resolved on. And we are here to say there is nobody who can amend a national decision of conference. Even if you are an NSC, you cannot amend a national conference decision. So these branches are the very same branches that will go to national conference or national policy conference to say, this is how we resolve it, this is how we think it should be done, whether it should not be done. Let's allow the branches that space.
Talking about the policy conference, of course, we also have got the elective conference of the ANC in December. Is there any position from the side of Mpumalanga at this stage, or is that something that you'll be also discussing in terms of preferred candidates going to that conference?
We haven't really discussed as the PEC of Mpumalanga and our branches, because we said our branches must be disciplined and follow the roadmap of the ANC. Now we're busy with policy matters. And now there is a roadmap from nationally. Immediately after the policy conference, we'll be starting to engage ourselves within the province and then engage other provinces, because remember, you need other provinces, 19 provinces to support you, and we will talk from there. I think in the next a week, let me give you a week or two, you'll hear the position of Mpumalanga. But for now, we don't have any position that we have agreed upon.
Lastly, talking about going to that conference, are you optimistic that Mpumalanga will go there united, considering the fact that there are some issues in some municipalities, as I mentioned earlier, Komazi, Mkondo, and you ended up having to expel some members of the ANC, and that probably tells us that the unity that you are talking about after conference is still not there. How are you handling that matter going forward?
Remember, those comrades that were ill-disciplined, they went through an internal process, which is the process of the ANC. It cannot divide the ANC when you want to bring order in the house. And that is why I was saying we will lobby each other, because you are allowed to lobby other branches and other branches to lobby other provinces. But as Mpumalanga, we would wish that would go united as a united voice, but only our branches, because 90% of these branches that were marshalling to national conference are branches that must lobby and agree. But there is no harm where they've got a preference in terms of the view that they would express, because it is allowed. And once conference has resolved and elected a leadership, then we must come back and rally behind that leadership. But where we are, we don't see ourselves being divided. And conferences, it's a nature of it. Everybody will have a preference. And we must not harm them, we must not call them names. They have the right, when the process is officially open, to lobby for the candidate they prefer. And once the leadership has guided, but who guides mostly? It's the 90% branches. I might have my own wishes, but branches might prove me wrong. But we are going to lobby each other and move as a one voice from Mpumalanga to that national conference.
All right, thank you for talking to us. That is Lindy Wenjalinjali. She is the Deputy Secretary of the ANC in Mpumalanga. Well, saying that the issue of the step aside, it has been one of those issues that has been discussed quite vigorously, because they believe that something wasn't done properly there, and also saying that indeed this particular meeting will help them consolidate their policy position going to both the National Policy Conference as well as the National Elective Conference of the African National Congress in December.
Mweli, Masilela, thank you very much for that update.